What's up, Moto fans? Michael here at Moto Machines, and today we are continuing our Triumph Trident 660 build series with an overview of the D&K TuneWorks ECU Flash. For those of you unfamiliar with the term ECU Flash, it is essentially a service in which you take your motorcycle's ECU and you send it out to a reputable tuner to alter the finite characteristics of the ECU, such as how the motorcycle behaves at low RPM, high RPM, and a whole host of other things. While there is a lot of benefits to this, there is one negative, and that negative is that it completely voids your warranty. It's a downside, but there's a lot of pluses to it, and it's up to you whether you need to, if that matters to you, really. For us, we wanted our Trident 660 to perform better, be faster, and be smoother, so we opted to void the warranty and go with an ECU tune, and I will tell you, we do not regret that decision at all. D&K TuneWorks has made the process very, very easy. We opted to do the DIY version of it instead of sending our ECU out to her. And she made it extremely easy, provided links and videos to everything that was necessary. The customer service experience has been absolutely fantastic, and I highly recommend, if you have any Triumph or Ducati that you want tuned, take it to her. dnktuneworks.com, highly recommended. Now, since we decided to DIY the tune ourselves, we had to pick up an OBD2 scanner. I think it's the MX Plus. And then we had to, basically, she sent us the file, we had to download Tune ECU, which is a program, and since the file was already made, it was really easy. Just plug the OBD into the bike's computer port where the dealer plugin basically is, download the tune, upload it to the bike, done in like 20 minutes max. Super simple, super easy. But if you don't know what you're doing and you're not really a DIY kind of person, I recommend against this. So why void your warranty and get an ECU Flash? Well, for starters, the motorcycle will run light years better than it did from the factory. Modern motorcycles run very lean from their manufacturers, and that means that they're getting a lot more airflow than they are fuel. And this is fantastic for meeting emission standards, but when you start to add aftermarket accessories that introduce airflow, such as air filters and exhausts like the Zard, that's when we start to run into problems. If you take an already lean running system and add some accessories that introduce a lot more air and completely change the air to fuel ratios, you can potentially damage your engine, burn your valves, and a whole host of other problems. Now, I know you'd like to avoid that because you want your engine to last as long as possible, so if you're adding these accessories, I highly recommend just getting an ECU Flash. Now, there's a couple other benefits to getting the ECU Flash. Throttle response is going to be drastically improved. Now, that's not to talk about the smoothness of the throttle. Specifically on Triumphs, they're known for having fantastic throttle response, being very buttery smooth. But on the Trident specifically, it kind of felt, even in stock form, a little bit laggy. You twisted the throttle and nothing really happened. It just kind of like you were just twisting it and it was just bah, and then it goes and then it takes off. And in fact, most modern motorcycles are like this, and it's because of secondary injectors. These secondary injectors aren't activated until you're higher up in the gears and the rev range, like on the highway, for example. But around town, it's not really making use of these until you get up in the revs. Getting an ECU Flash activates these secondary injectors throughout the rev range, so you get a better throttle response basically down low. You get a more one-to-one throttle response. You twist the throttle for 50%, you get 50% instead of like maybe 35 or 40. I don't know the exact percentages, but it gets you closer to a one-to-one throttle response, which is an ideal response because what you twist, that's what you get. There's no like, oh, well, we're only letting you have this amount of throttle because we don't want you to be in trouble or hurt yourself or whatever other reason that the manufacturers decide to do it for. The other benefit is that your bike's going to run cooler. And that's because you can have the radiator fans kick on earlier. So instead of kicking on at like 215 degrees when most motorcycles radiator fans kick on, you can have them set to like 185 or 190, or really any other temperature you want that you feel that is beneficial to you in your riding environment. The other final benefit that we noticed to getting the Trident's ECU Flash is the quick shift and blipper works better. The ignition cut for the quick shifter going up is shorter, and so that means it shifts faster and smoother. And then going down, we notice that there's no more front wheel push. Front wheel push is when you press down on the blipper, or up if you're using GP shift, and the motorcycle blips the throttle, but to match the engine speed. But front wheel push is when the motorcycle adds too much throttle for the engine speed, and you end up with like a little shove forward. That is called front wheel push, and is potentially dangerous, especially as you're coming into a corner. If you're downshifting and on the brakes, you're actually accelerating while you're on the brakes because it's pushing you. It's giving you a nice little shove forward. That front wheel push has completely disappeared with the Flash. With all that being said, let's head on over to R&R Cycles and throw this bad boy on the tune and show you what it looks like. So we're back from R&R, fresh off the dyno, and what we found was that the ECU Flash didn't add any more power to the motorcycle. Big whoop, it's not the end of the day. I could honestly care less. The power that was already gained was pretty good at 5 or 6 horsepower. That's actually a phenomenal gain, and most manufacturers that claim that bump don't actually deliver. So that was fantastic to see from Zard to deliver on that power claim. Instead, what we gained was overall improved rideability. The motorcycle is an absolute joy to ride now. It is fantastic. It got a serious kick in the pants down low, and when you twist the throttle now, the thing just goes. It has the pep that I wish it had from the MT-07. That is an extremely peppy bike, and I wanted the Trident to be kind of similar, because with the triple you get that download torque of a twin, but the kind of top end of an inline 4. And before, it didn't really feel like it had that classic inline triple characteristic. Now, definitely does. So if you're considering the tune, I highly recommend you do it. Even if you keep your motorcycle stock, I highly suggest doing it, because the improved rideability, the throttle response, everything has changed so drastically that the motorcycle is absolutely fantastic now. Well, that's all we got for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for all the latest Moto Machines madness. Ride safe.